Hello, everyone, and welcome to Holy Cross Hospital Annual Medical Staff Meeting. Today, I want to talk about the Black birthing experience and some of the unique challenges that Black women like myself face when it comes to maternal health. There is no denying that maternal health is a critical issue for all women. However, there are some significant disparities when it comes to the maternal health of women of color compared to white women. Just as a house is only as strong as its foundation, so too is a society only as healthy as the women who give birth to its next generation. Unfortunately, in the United States, Black women are facing a maternal health crisis. Compared to white women, Black women are 3 to 4 times likely to die from pregnancy related causes. They are also more likely to suffer from a host of other pregnancy complications, such as preterm labor and low birth weight. The disparities in Black women's maternal health are rooted in a long history of systemic racism and discrimination. From enslavement to Jim Crow laws to present day iniquities in healthcare, Black women have always been treated as second class citizens. As a result, they have increasingly borne the brunt of this country's unequal access to quality healthcare. Let me share with you my story and my friend's story to help break down some of the barriers that exist from Black women who are pregnant or have recently given birth. I do believe that by sharing our stories, we can help to build a community of support and understanding. I was only 20 years when I gave birth to my son. While I was pregnant, I was not constantly surrounded by love or support from my family and friends. I was also keenly aware of the fact that I was entering into a world that is not always welcoming to Black women and mothers. Throughout my pregnancy, I experienced racism, microaggression, and discrimination on a regular basis from medical staff. During my delivery, the doctor consistently ignored my pain. I was told to suck it up. The doctors did not only dismiss my pain, but also did not have compassion or empathy for a scared young single mother. Thankfully, my son was born healthy and happy, but the experience left me shaken. At least for me, when I found out that I was pregnant, I was somehow familiar with the structural systemic racism that exists in our society. I knew I would have to face discrimination head on during my birthing experience. Sadly, my friend wasn't already aware of this. With this type of discrimination, and her experience was even worse than mine. She was treated like a second class citizen by the staff at the hospital, and she was made to feel like her pain wasn't valid. She was coerced into having an unnecessary cesarean section to deliver her son. She went through excruciating pain and a very long recovery time. It's incredibly frustrating and unfair that Black women are still treated this way, even during one of the most vulnerable times in their lives. So now, let me point out to you some of the causes of the disparities that exist in Black women. Maternal health. So let me point out to you some of the causes of the disparities that exist in Black women maternal health compared to white women. The first cause of the disparity that I want to talk about is the lack of education and resources. Part of the disparity in maternal health outcomes between women of color and white women in the United States can be attributed to unmet information needs of Black women. According to an online documentary titled Centering Humanity, The Black Birthing Experience, many African American women are not able to make informed decisions about their reproductive health due to a lack of information on the available birthing options. This can lead to higher rates of unplanned pregnancies, which can in turn lead to poor maternal health outcomes. In addition, the lack of education among women of color means that they are less likely to know about the signs and symptoms of pregnancy complications. As a result, they are more likely to experience complications during pregnancy and childbirth. The lack of education about maternal health among Black women is a major contributor to the disparities in maternal health outcomes in the United States. Women of color are also more likely to lack access to quality education, which in turn affects the maternal health. Studies have shown that women who lack a high school education are more likely to experience complications during pregnancy and childbirth, and are also more likely to suffer from chronic health conditions like obesity and diabetes. This is according to the National Partnership of Women for Families. In addition, Black women are likely to live in poverty, which can further compound the effects of poor maternal health. White women, on the other hand, tend to have higher rates of education and income, which provide them with greater access to quality health care. As a result, they are less likely to experience adverse maternal health outcomes. By improving educational opportunities for Black women, we can help reduce the disparities in maternal health outcomes between white women and women of color. Moreover, Black women are more likely to lack proper access to quality prenatal care compared to their white counterparts, and this disparity has a significant impact on maternal health outcomes. According to the National Partnership for Women and Families, African American women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy or child-related complications than white women. This disparity is largely due to the socioeconomic factors such as poverty and a lack of insurance. But even when controlling for these factors, studies have shown that racial discrimination in the healthcare system plays a role in contributing to poor maternal health outcomes for women of color. In particular, Black women are more likely to receive inadequate prenatal care and to be treated disrespectfully by medical staff during their pregnancies. Statistics from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention also show that only about half of pregnant women receive early prenatal care compared to the 2/3 of white women. This lack of exposure to quality prenatal care has a profound impact on maternal health, leading to higher rates of preterm labor, low birth weight, and postpartum depression, among other issues. By raising awareness of this issue and working to address the underlying socioeconomic factors, we can help improve maternal health outcomes for women of color. The second cause of maternal disparity between Black and white women is racial discrimination. Black women often face racial discrimination throughout their lives and more likely to obtain barriers to obtaining quality care than white women. This provider discrimination is partly due to the fact that whites comprise about 70% of obstetrician gynecologists in the US. This statistic is according to Zippia 2022. A study conducted by McLemore and other researchers in 2018 to determine pregnancy-related healthcare experience for women of color from Fresno, Oakland, and San Francisco in California established that pregnant women experience stressful interactions with all levels of medical staff. Studies have also shown that providers who discriminate against patients based on their race are more likely to provide inadequate care, misdiagnose pain, or withhold medical services because of the false belief that Black women have a heightened pain tolerance. As a result, women of color experience poor maternal health outcomes compared to white women, despite generally having better health outcomes prior to pregnancy. The disparities that I have talked about so far are the result of both structural and systemic racism in the United States healthcare system. According to Ken Goldenberg, 2021, structural and systemic racism refer to the ways in which institutional policies and practices advantage white people while disadvantaging people of color. Together, these forms of racism create an environment in which women of color are less likely to receive quality maternal care. To address these disparities, it is important to increase provider awareness of their own biases and improve cultural competency trainings for providers. In addition, policy changes at the institutional level are needed to ensure that all women have access to quality maternal care, regardless of their race or ethnicity. Inconsistent social support is another cause of maternal disparity between Black and white women. Social support during pregnancy is vital for the health of the birth mother and child. Women who receive consistent social support are more likely to experience better health outcomes, both during pregnancy and after childbirth. However, studies have shown that women of color are less likely to receive consistent social support than white women. This lack of support can have a devastating impact on maternal health. According to McLemore, 2018, women of color who do not receive adequate social support during pregnancies are more likely to experience postpartum depression. They are also more likely to suffer from chronic stress, which can lead to a host of other health problems. The disparities in social support received by women of color compared to white women is a major contributing factor to the poor maternal health outcomes seen in these communities. Given the importance of social support during pregnancy, it is essential that interventions be put into place to ensure that all women have access to the support that they need. To conclude this out, in a nutshell, there are many factors that can affect maternal health. However, a lack of education or information, racial discrimination, and inconsistent social support are some of the most common challenges faced by women of color. These challenges can lead to higher rates of poverty, stress, and anxiety, which can in turn increase the risk of complications during pregnancy and childbirth. It is time for us to face the issue head on and address disparities in Black women's maternal health care. We cannot continue to ignore this crisis any longer. In order to improve maternal health outcomes for women of color, it is essential to address these underlying issues. Addressing these issues may require greater investment in educational and support programs, as well as initiatives to combat racism and discrimination. It is also important to provide more resources to grassroots organizations that are fighting for maternal justice. In addition, creating education programs that target pregnant women of color is critical, as this can help to empower women and provide them with the knowledge they need to make an informed decision about their health. Finally, it is essential to listen to the voices of women of color and lead the way in shaping policies and programs that will improve maternal health outcomes. Only by addressing these structural barriers will we be able to improve maternal health care for women of color and achieve true maternal justice. Thank you for listening.